Testing. Welcome to episode 74 of Beauty Magazine, a Sims 4 story of a once thriving, now struggling fashion magazine. This story takes place in the year 2008. At that time, the magazine is 10 years old, having been founded in 1998. Our story features Sims 4 gameplay, building, and at times creating a pretend virtual magazine. Using pictures and things from the game and story and articles, titles, and such that I try to come up with. And then I pretend to write them. I don't necessarily finish them, but it's part of the fun of the series is trying to figure things out and come up with things that might have been in a magazine. I use this flipHTML5 site to make my pretend magazine. And the example that I keep using is this is our April 2008 issue that we've, been working on. I have a disclaimer page about how it's a fake magazine. Please don't listen to my advice on there and try to do things like try to diet or whatever. I'm not an expert. Don't start using a punching bag unless you get, your doctor's approval and all that and all the stuff you're supposed to do. I'm not telling anybody to go hit a punching bag. You hurt yourself, that's on you. There might be some more of that ding stuff, because that's people messaging me on Facebook. I'm not really wanting to answer that right now. Anyway, I don't have as much time tonight as I sometimes do, because instead of going in at 1:30 tomorrow, I start at 11, so it's going to be a shorter episode. Anyway, that's the magazine thing. However, we're currently working through the story of our fashion writer who recently inherited her niece after the tragic fire in Arizona that killed the rest of her family. A kitchen fire killed her sister, her brother-in-law, and both her parents at the 1-year birthday party of her niece. The baby here survived because the nanny got her out. And our Dana here, the adult, she hadn't gone to visit her family in over 2 years. She didn't go to the birth. She didn't go to the birthday party. She was going to go to the birthday party, but her flight got canceled after an earthquake. She hasn't gone to holidays, a lot of things. So, and then she inherited the baby. She was living in San Myshuno. The downstairs neighbors complained to the landlord about whoever was making the noise upstairs. It was actually her neighbors that live on the top floor who were making all the noise. I mean, they both live on that, that split level apartment. But anyway, she got blamed for the noise and got evicted. And she moved to this house. It's in Windenburg, but, I'm pretending it's like upstate California, somewhere where there's grass and trees. And this house is based on the house from the movie Baby Boom, as well as the story of someone inheriting their niece. Like, in the movie, J.C. Wyatt is a businesswoman who's trying to, might be an advertising executive or advertising company, but she's trying to get this account for a thing called the food chain, and her boss is like, if we make you a partner, you don't have, I want you to assure me you don't have a life outside of work and you can still handle this and blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, I have no plans on anything else. I really want this. And then, like, a day later, the phone rings and she's like inheriting something from her distant cousin Andrew that she hasn't seen in forever, who just died. And suddenly she goes to the airport the next day and the lady gives her a baby. It's like, here, you're inheriting Elizabeth. And it just, everything spirals out of control from there. So I advise, if you're into movies like that, where it's an 80s movie, Diane Keaton, you might like it. But we're kind of doing a similar story anyway. So playlist link. There with the noise, I'm trying to park my phone, and I recently started using one of my old business card holders to hold my phone next to the laptop so I can look at the chat on there if anything ever happens on the chat. Occasionally, Daniel or somebody will chime in on there, and I appreciate that when I see it. Sometimes I'm slow to see it. So right now we're in the kitchen with our baby on the, our niece. It's our baby now. We adopted her, Sydney Dowell. And I've been playing through. I'm not in any hurry to age up this baby, but it might happen within the next few episodes. But I've done just about everything I can do for a baby. Just like all the milestones, and we're just kind of. It's more that I'm doing other things with. We've been canning the jams and the conserves and all that, and pretending that some of this is baby food, even though we can't feed it to her yet because she's still an infant. The infant can only get a bottle or eat the foods that the high chair has. They don't eat the other foods yet. So yeah, we've been doing the canning and started to bake a few pies, and Dana now has level 10 cooking skill. And then we've been growing trees inside of this, in the movie it's kind of a stable, there's a cow in here, or a cow barn or whatever, but at the moment where I'm using it as a temporary greenhouse to get these apple trees started so that I can then plant them out here as full-grown trees. Because I'm trying to make the orchard from the movie. Or just, make an orchard. She had an orchard in the movie, and I'm trying to put that on the property. Alright, so let's come out here and harvest all. And so, for the purposes of storytelling, these plants here, the tomato, strawberry, and blueberry plants, are plants that her sister had in Arizona in these plant pots. And with the guilt that she felt over not going to the thing and all that. Get out of here, Marcus. She brought, other than Sydney, these are the closest thing to a living relative she has now. So she kept the plants. And then, moved here, and we've got the, okay. And so that's what I'm doing is I'm bringing these in, getting them to grow, and then putting them back. I'm just trying to get a little bit of harvest from each one. One harvest from each one, and then putting them back outside, and then we'll try to gather the whole harvest later on in the fall. I might need to plant a few more too. Let's see how many overall do we need? We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get the whole row. We've got we do have 8 of them. So, and then there's a pear tree in here. Okay, so that's not too many yet. Alright, play with your toy. And then Dana. Let's and now she's actually wearing something that she Congrats. Way to go, Connie. Really? We're gonna have to do our laundry, huh? That's weird. So yeah, if you're watching this at any time, whether it's now or in the future, hello, thanks for watching. I've pretty much made this house pretty as close to the movie as I could figure out how to do based on just a few scenes that are actually taking place in the house. I've tried to match where the kitchen's at compared to the other rooms and this and that. And now she doesn't have all these shelves like this, but there is a scene where she's making the baby applesauce, and she's on the phone, and she's like she's like opening the fridge, opening a cupboard, like, where do I put all this? And she's like, can't figure out where to put it because she's already made like 100 jars. Alrighty. Okay, we need to get our baking skill up. I don't know if there's baked pies we can do or not, but I wanna get our baking skill going. So now that the cooking skill is done. I don't know if the baking skill is separate from cooking. But it's like, we don't have access to that stuff, so I can only assume it is. Yeah, there it is, baking skill. So she's been going through a lot with the tragedy of losing her family and, being forced to move and, just trying to get away from it all. She's a workaholic. That's why she kept not visiting her family. Now she's got this baby and it's like she's She's been having a hard time doing her magazine work, though. She quit the style influencer career because that's what was keeping her from doing more things. But she's been kind of neglecting writing her article that's supposed to be for the May issue. You know what? Let's make these. These might, Sydney might like to eat these when she gets a little older. I've got the simple living thing turned on for the first time ever, so I'm like, she's got to use ingredients to make stuff. So, I'm kind of having fun with this a little bit. I don't usually do a lot of challenges per se, but I guess that's one. I'm forcing myself to have them make the ingredients or order them. At some point, I might be getting her a cow so she can get some milk that way, or chickens for the eggs. Because, as I mentioned before, in the movie, she does have a cow, at least. Timothy's here. Oh, he dropped by. Well, here, let's put him in a good mood. This is the nanny from Arizona. We've been having him come over occasionally to, he's known Sydney for like at least a year. He's been her nanny the whole time, and he saved her life. Yeah, make some batter. So, in the last episode, or within the last two episodes, the game kind of forced it on me where I had to choose. I wasn't intending on having Beth Birkenshire, the beauty writer, and Dana hooking up romantically. But I went ahead and said, okay, they'll test the waters and have, and I had them go to the romance festival. It just happened to be that day. Um, and they kissed and stuff, but Dana's still looking for a man. She wants to marry somebody someday. She's still hopeful that she had always been hopeful that she'd start a family of her own and have her own kid. And her mother probably might have said something like that to her, and then maybe let off a bit when the sister got married and had a kid. As luck would have it, Beth Berkshire, her parents are kind of not very supportive of her life choices. She wanted to be a hairdresser, and they tried to talk her out of that because you won't make money as a hairdresser and blah blah blah. So she became a writer and went to college and got the magazine job. But she's currently, as part of her story, apprenticing at a salon to go ahead and get her license anyway and be a hairdresser. Well, her mother didn't. Her mother and father were at the romance festival. They don't know that. Beth doesn't know that. But the mother didn't see it, but the father saw Dana and Beth kissing. And he basically told Dana, hey, you leave my daughter alone. And Dana's like, she doesn't want anything. She doesn't want to cause problems. And she's still not really sure if she's wanting a relationship with Beth anyway. So she's trying to just avoid Beth a little bit. Well, here it is. We got, the game is like, hey, you're unsatisfied. Well, you're darn right, because we've been ignoring you. I really didn't want to have that relationship, but I was like, having. I was just, letting the story kind of happen a little bit and see what would happen, and just send a regular text, just a text. Oh, we gotta go sell that. Did that literally just happen as I was doing that? Yeah, I spray painted this down here because that's I just followed the path she was taking, just so it would make sense for that to be there. Because you know. Okay, that's the last of our paintings that we sold on Plopsy. Hey, you got any kids? Or you want some strawberry jam? Mila, you want that, don't you? Oh, hey, they're coming over. That's, okay, that's Misty's mama. Holy crap, $101 you want for that? And we sold one? That's the chef from my, whatchamacallit restaurant, the Burnt Toast Diner. Oh, now the baby's in the house alone. Oh, you're in the high chair, aren't you? Okay, well, you're not one of my Sims, and I don't really care either way, so you go ahead and try. Okay, I don't know who you are. Oh, we sold the last. We got honey? What do we got? Cool. I've never really actually been able to, I haven't really tried to use this table before, other than at the flea market. That's cool. I like that I was able to do that. Hey, you bringing my baby out here? You better be bringing her to me. You ain't stealing my baby, are you? Wow, and you're not getting mad that she's holding you? This is weird. You don't usually like being held. Have you finally gotten over that? You know, you still hate being held. I don't know. Okay. Okay, we got people over. Let's let them, yeah, let's put the fruitcake out. Yeah, see if we can't get him to eat the fruitcake. You haven't worn this yet, so let's wear that. Yay, they ate the fruitcake. What are you doing with my batter? I didn't put my batter in there for... What, are you going to eat the batter? You're eating my dough. Man, people, come on now. Don't come over and eat the frickin' dough. I got breadsticks and crap in there. Eat that. There needs to be a way to separate your fridge's inventory You know, so they can't get at the things you don't want them getting.
Galpa Longi. Yatu Feb Karangi. Ythruya. Bro Hooray Azig. Sibwit.
No, not that. Get the diaper changed.
Awavine. Floopy. Runa. Koosh.
Lucia, why would you say something like that to me? The hell is that supposed to mean? Oh, hey, we met some new neighbors. I didn't know a couple of those I didn't know existed. You're doing fine other than a little bit of energy, so... Oh, now you're being... Oh, you just mad at me for holding you? Mad at Dana?
Zeffel. Ibsens. Ina bush. Avenor yikla. Let 'em move. Hoopate. Yishka. Pator. Yasamba pony. Yabby bizarre. Yamorfa. Floor. Bugatti. Highlight. What a boo! Wimple.
Alright. I am going to go get my coffee warmed up. I will be right back. So, I was thinking about it. When I do go to age up the baby, what that's going to be, because it's technically not going to be her birthday yet, but it's going to be a case of Dana, maybe a month, or we'll pretend like it's been a month or something since she got the baby, and it'll be like Dana wants to finish celebrating the birthday she didn't get to go to, and Sydney might not have actually got to blow out the candles on her cake